Good morning, people. Right, this video is all about my approach to the charts. I know it looks an absolute mess, and there's a couple of new indicators on here. Currency strength indicator, just really because when say for example it's showing the CAD as weak and the Japanese yen as strong, then I slap those onto my buttons indicator here, and then just do some analysis on it. Really, I don't really use it for my trading. I have in the past, but you can have indicator overload, as it were. So this is just sort of like a testing thing. Likewise with the support and resistance indicator, I've used that in the past. Lem uses it a lot. It sometimes gives you a better idea of where your targets may well be. This could be used as a target, so when you're scalping and the indicators all tell you that you should be going long, then that can be helpful. And what else? I'm still learning about this RSI histo alert, and the more I mess around with it, in other words, like for example, I was just using this slope here, just drawing a descending trend line, and noticed that when we got the trigger and a breakout of a descending trend line, things were interesting, to say the very least. So another possible opportunity of how to use that alert. Notice there's nothing really showing on here. So this becomes less and less interesting, although I use it like a stabilizer on a bicycle, practice wheels, as it were. It's just there, belt and braces. Little note here that I occasionally put on charts just to remind myself. It's 5:44 in the morning. I woke up about 4 o'clock again, apologies as well, I've got a croaky throat, so bit of a cold, hoping it's not the this virus that's going around, but I don't think so. Anyway, and then you've got all your lines on your charts that I've been showing you over the last couple of videos. So I'll explain this note here. So what I'm saying to myself here is it needs an M5 RSI breakup, then a pullback before entering to a target of 128 and above. And then just a reminder to myself, I don't do this on a daily basis, but if I'm up early and I perhaps have a quick nap, say 3 o'clock till 5 o'clock or something, then that's worthwhile. And occasionally, I've done it in the past on videos, I put an arrow on there as well. So and as you can see, because of I know it's a mess, this chart, and I'll show you what I've done in a moment, but as you can see, we've got a monthly high here that has been bashing up against, and this goes back to June the 1st 2019, and that's why it's so important, in my opinion, to draw all those levels in as you go. And then we've got nothing, no weekly, dailies or anything above us, so that's why I assume, or that's why I've put in my notes target 128 and above, because there is nothing until this what have we got here, an old H4 from yesterday, or the 2nd of the 3rd, I'm not sure where we are right now. I think we're on the 3rd now. And then you've got the you notice this little blue line, that's the FXI pivots on there, and the white line would be an S1, I should think, R1, sorry, apologies, resistance of course above, and that's it really. And the rest of the analysis is based on the RSI really. So I'll go from the monthly downwards. RSI is telling us we're red below zero, so the monthly we can clearly see we're in a down move. Same with the indicator there, the upwards pressure has dropped off, turned red, and lo and behold we start to lose momentum to the upside. Could have drawn a descending trend line on here, and then an ascending one on here, and that's just a break of ascending trend line. Once again, the weekly is showing us that we're below zero and should only be looking for shorts on the long-term trading, although it hasn't just happened now. As you can see, if we'd got in at that first red one, or after that, after a retracement, we would have made bundles and bundles of dosh. Now starting to see these other levels drawn in here, and what I'll do is I'll do a part 2 and do this from scratch. Yeah, I would have been on the daily now, I would have been just concentrating on the recent candles. I know you can't see a lot behind all this stuff, but obviously in my opinion, and the way my brain thinks, is the most recent reactions to support and resistance are the most relevant now. So we're getting into some serious short-term analysis now. Excuse me. H4, once again, we're still below zero, so it's all about shorting with a view on retracements going on, and that's what this daily move is, just a retracement on the or a pullback on the downtrend. H1, you can't really see anything behind that chart, but there's nothing to worry about there. I'll put one level in there because we've got this 2 red candles here, so that's a downtrend, and we can see the green candles that are going up, or should I say, yeah, that was the bottom of the downtrend, should I say, the H1 candlestick downtrend. So I've put a high there, so we've broken through a significant resistance on that red candle there, because remember I talk about candlestick trend, high, low, lower, high, lower, low, and then the new trend is the low, high, higher, low, higher, high, and potential break of that previous resistance there, the red candle's resistance, is a break of the downtrend, and we clearly broke with that little green candle hiding behind all that mess there the resistance. M30, not so important on these long-term chart assessments, but once again the sturdy old RSI histo is telling me that we've actually broken up again, potential for a long trade there, although it's not a good time of the market to be considering trading longs during these bars here. We're waiting for some activity in the newer bars now as we enter into the Frankfurt Open. Excuse me. We have got news today at 9:30 as well, so that's something you need always to be aware of. I was looking for a news indicator. I used to love the FFCal one, but it doesn't work very well now, and I haven't found anything that I want to mess up my charts with at the moment. So M15 now, where we've had these moves up. You can clearly see now what I start to do now. These vertical red lines are just past historical moves that could have been traded. So we've gone from green to red, we're in a downtrend, and you can clearly see how that's moved. It's sort of not so much for my benefit as for just showing you how I like to approach the charts, because if you're sort of what's the word, there is a proper word for it. It's something to do with mindfulness. You're putting yourself in the right state of mind by just confirming. That's it. Affirmations, the word is. You're reaffirming that your method is solid and reliable. Like we've gone from a pullback candle there into a alert or green bar close is go, and that next bar goes up to the moon in pip talk, as it were. And excuse me, the other sort of affirmation is that don't trade in the quiet times, because we've got a trigger there, but it's late in the move. You want to be getting in as the price is really showing momentum, and these late moves, this is just a reminder not to get in, and obviously we're against the other indicator as well, which is fantastic, because that would have just kept me out of a trade. And these things are useful to remind yourself when you're considering a trade. excuse me, a trade at the stupid times of day, you know, after 10 o'clock in the morning or something like that, or at 3 in the afternoon or 7 in the evening or something. Just don't go there, you know. Keep yourself involved in when the big boys are looking at the markets, and you should do fine. So M15, well, all that's telling me is that we're in retracement to the short side for a possible long that I'm looking for, because of the higher time frames. And remember, the higher time frames always lead the way. H1, remember, if we want to go short, H1 has got to be at least red, and most preferably below 0 and red, and even breaking through this 20 limit, which is, again, you know, you could use your affirmations just to remind yourself, you know, we're in the markets for a minuscule percentage of the time that the markets are going. So you've got all this time just to keep reminding yourself when you should be looking for trades. Why trades fail is just as important as why trades win. You know, H1 is telling me I've got to go long. The H1 on my old reliable is telling me we're having a bit of a pullback, and I want to be green on that, really, to be long as well. But if we get the burst up that I'm expecting, then these will coincide, and that's why I always put check higher time frames into my brain, as it were. So back to M15. Remember, if we want to go long, this has got to be green. M5 now, because I've got this descending trend line on here, ideally I'd like to see it break through that with vigor. M5, ideally I'd want to see this above 0, or if it was a MACD, because you know, obviously you can't have that indicator, then that would want to confirm that as well. And M1 doesn't really tell us a lot at this stage, except we're still banging against that monthly high. We could now draw a descending trend line on this, because we've got a high, low, lower high, and critically this wouldn't be valid, this descending trend line, in my opinion, until that low had been broken there, even by a pip or two. Then we could draw that level on there. And just a quick look at the line chart just confirms exactly what I've just mentioned on that chart as well. So once again, we could have drawn a descending trend line over here, high, low, lower, high. Once it's broken that, this becomes valid, and then once this is broken, this becomes valid. But we've already validated the actual downtrend, because high, low, lower, high, lower, low. And remember also, I always look for the most recent break of trend to validate. So because once a trend reverses, it always reverses. I mean, I know this is obvious, but it always reverses from the top. We're looking for breaks of tops, and we're looking for breaks of absolute bottoms as well. So and consequently, this low, high, high, low, high, high, potentially up here, would then allow us to draw an ascending trend line, and so on and so forth. So that's it, guys. You know, it can do what it likes. I'm not shorting this until M30 or H1 at least changes to a strong RSI breakdown, something through the 20, red through the 20. I don't even want to. No, red's above 0. Remember, are pullbacks, guys. So all I can think of is longs for this. All I can consider is longs. Okay, hopefully that's. I know it's long-winded, and I know the charts are an absolute mess, but I hope you can understand my thought processes now. So that's it. Long-winded video. Hope it's helpful. Thanks a lot. See you later.